Today, we're going to react to Ronaldo's interview with Piers Morgan. Every English media is acting like Ronaldo was wrong. But is he really wrong? Today, we'll react to see if he was wrong or not.
Manchester United, I thought everything was changed because it's 13 years that I'm changed. I was in Real Madrid 9 years and 3 in Juventus. And when I arrived, I thought everything will be different, you know, the technology, the infrastructures and everything. But I was surprised in a bad way, let's say in that way. Everything was kind of the same that I
It hadn't moved on.
No, they stop on a clock, in my opinion, which is something that surprised me. I didn't expect. Slowly and slowly they start to change. Even the windows, the new players, and was tough. Was tough for me because I didn't expect that.
So he's talking about facilities, infrastructure of Manchester United. Just imagine Manchester United is the most successful club in Premier League history. If they don't have the latest facilities, latest structure, that is embarrassing.
To be honest.
It was little things like even the swimming pool that the players use, the saunas, all these facilities. Nothing had changed since you'd left in 2009.
Nothing changed. Surprisingly, not only the pool, the jacuzzi, even the gym. Even some points in technology, the kitchen, the chefs, which is I appreciate, lovely persons. They stop in a time which is it surprised me a lot. I thought I will see different things, different, as I mentioned before, technology, infrastructure, but unfortunately we see many things that I'm used to see when I was 20, 21, 23, so surprised me a lot.
You'd also, of course, as you said, you'd been at Real Madrid and Juventus, where you saw them moving all the time to progress with technology, the latest thing, to improve performance levels. So you were able to compare what you'd experienced there with what was not happening at United.
In United, the progress was zero, in my opinion. To compare with Real Madrid and even Juventus, that they follow the recent world. So the technology, especially the terms of training, nutrition, and conditions of eat properly and to recover better than before, surprised me. Manchester right now, to compare with that club, I think it's behind, in my opinion, which is something that surprised me. A club with this dimension should be in the top of the tree, in my opinion, and they are not. Unfortunately, they are not in that level.
Again, he just reinstated what he said before, that the infrastructure, the facilities, everything was not up there to be a big club. Now, I can't speak of about Juventus, about their facilities, but I can speak of Real Madrid, their facilities and their infrastructure. Real Madrid is a club. They always try to optimize everything possible. And in my opinion, Manchester United, being one of the top clubs in the world, they should do the same.
For example, you have an interesting point that how the club as Manchester United, after suck Ole, they bring sport directive Ralph Rangnick, which is something that nobody understands. This guy is not even a coach. A bigger club like Manchester United bring sport directive. Surprised not only me, but all the world, you know.
Well, it was a ridiculous decision, wasn't it?
Of course, in my opinion, you have to be honest. If you're not even a coach, how are you gonna be the boss of Manchester United? It's something that I should see that Manchester did not followed not the right way to reach successful like other teams, like for example Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea. They are one step behind or two.
Of course, Rangnick's appointment doesn't make any sense whatsoever if you look at the broader picture. Like, what do you want to achieve by appointing him? He wasn't even managing any team before that. Also, Manchester United's struggle is beyond manager, because if you see the managers of their last couple of years, all the top manager like Jose Mourinho failed at Manchester United. that tell you that it's not the coach that's the problem, it's the administration that's the main problem.
Faced Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who a lot of fans liked, but he obviously wasn't delivering the big titles that United wanted and were used to. But to a point, someone like Ralph Rangnick, I mean, I'd never heard of him. And I'm thinking, had you heard of him?
No, of course not.
You'd never heard of this guy?
Nobody, and the people who I speak, nobody knew it, who is him.
And suddenly did you call him the boss?
Of course.
I don't know what kind of question was that. Do you call him a boss? Of course he would do it. This is not a smart question from Piers Morgan. Why you ask that question? So there's clear indication that Piers Morgan is trying to instigate. He's trying to cause controversy so that these videos get viral and he get more views.
What was extraordinary was very quickly after Rangnick took over, he started briefing journalists that you weren't pressing enough and that maybe it would be a good idea if you moved on from the club. And I'm like, who is this guy? And why is he saying this to the man who's scoring the goals?
Again, I did not like the way Morgan is phrasing the wording. I think the way he's phrasing the wording is not ideal. Also, I don't understand the hype around pressing. If you look at the top pressing team in Premier League, it's none of those top teams. I don't know why there's so much affection for pressing. I think pressing is good, but it's not a metric that determines the success of a team.
To be honest, Piers, it's something that I don't understand. It's the new coaches that coming around, they think they find the last Coca-Cola in the desert, which is, I don't understand. The football there invents many years. So, but I respect any coach have a different approach, different opinions, different mentality, but kind of some points that you not agree. So I'm always like that in my life. I'm always been beside the best coaches in the world, Zidane, Ancelotti, Mourinho, Fernando Santos, Allegri. So I had kind of some experience because I learned from them. And when you see some coaches that they're coming, that they want to revolution the football, I not agree. I have my opinion. They agree or they disagree, but it's part of the business because in the end of the day, I'm in a club to win. And with my experience, I want to help, like always. And some coaches that don't accept. And, it's part of the job.
Did he know what he was doing?
Again, I agree. I think that's a fair point that a lot of coaches have a fixed system and they want to employ their system. But unfortunately, football is dynamic. It changes over time. When you have one of the best players like Ronaldo in your team, you rather prefer a system that includes the best player in your team. So overall, in this part, he talked about Rangnick and his football, at which he disagrees from Rangnick's ideas and a lot of philosophies, which is understandable. Not every people would agree with every football philosophy or tactics.
What about the younger players and specifically their mentality? Because it seemed to me, just from what I was reading, when you were originally at Manchester United as a young 18-year-old, that you had huge respect for the older players, the Keanes and these guys in the dressing room, and you would soak up their experience, their wisdom and so on. Did you get that same respect, do you think, from the younger players?
I don't mean that they don't respect the experienced players or the oldest players. I don't think that word is the best one, but they live in a different era. I can see my kid, they have 12 years old. The mentality, they are not the same. They are not suffer that.
What's the difference?
The anger. I think the anger. I think that they have the things more easily. Everything it's easily. They don't suffer. And I think they don't care. I don't mean only a few in Manchester United, but all the teams, all leagues in the world, the youngers, they are not the same of my generation. But we cannot blame them because it's part of the life, the new generation and the new technologies that avoid, they distract them for another thing. So, but they are not the same. They listen, but this is why we have 2 ears. You listen from one side and they go away from another side. So don't surprise me, but in the same way, it's a little bit shame because if they have the best examples in front of your eyes and if they don't at least copy what you did for me, it's kind of weird because I remember when I was 18, 19, 20s, I'm always look to see the best players, Van Nistelrooy, Ferdinand, Roy Keane, and that gigs. This is why I have the successful that I have and longevity, because I take care of my body, my mentality, my head, because I see these guys and I learn from them.
So in this Manchester United dressing room, there are a lot of young players who feel like they're celebrities. Their ego is untouchable. When you have a player like Ronaldo, you should try to learn something. And why would they care about football? When you get a so big fat check, you don't care about football. You just get the money and enjoy life. In the next episode, he talked about the family tragedy. One of his sons died. Most people don't realize that after all, these footballers are human. They also have emotion. They also have life.
What was that like for you, that time in your life?
It's probably the worst moments that I passed through my life since my father died. You know, when you have a kid, that you expect that everything will be normal, and you have that problem. It's hard, you know. As human being that I am, me and Georgina, we had quite difficult moments because we don't understand why happened to us. Was difficult, to be honest. Was very, very difficult to understand what's going on in that period of our life. As you know, the football carry on. They are so fast, many competitions. The football don't stop. We have many competitions. And pass through in that moment was probably the most difficult moment that I had in my life. Me and my family, especially Gio, that was tough.
In the next part, he talked about the criticism he got from different players, especially players he played with.
One of your biggest critics has been, and I'm surprised about this.
Me too.
Wayne Rooney,
for example,
who you played with for many years very successfully, and were good friends with him, and yet all this year, 3 or 4 times, he's come out and attacked you in the media.
Pierce, I don't understand. You should ask this question to him, but I don't know. I don't know why he criticized me so bad, or I don't believe that he's jealous of me.
He says your behavior is unacceptable. United should sell you. You know, blah 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 blah. I mean, it's Wayne Rooney.
It surprised me. It was 1 year ago or 6 months ago here in my house. He pick up his kids here and invite Cristiano to go to his house to play football. I really don't understand people like that, or if they wanna be in the cover of the paper, of the news, or they want a new jobs or whatever.
Is it jealousy as well, perhaps, that you're still playing and still in the Man United?
Probably, because he finished his career with 30s. So I'm still playing high level. I'm not gonna say that I'm looking better than him, which is true, but that is
inarguable. I mean, there's no contest.
It's hard to listen that kind of criticize and negative about people who play with you. For example, Gary Neville as well.
Yeah, I mean, Gary Neville, you blanked him the other day on the pitch, and he looked quite upset, actually, because he obviously likes being your friend, but he's been pretty critical of you as well.
People can have his own opinion, but they don't really know what's going on, for example, inside the training ground and Carrington area, or even my life. They should listen not only one point of view, they have to listen my point of view as well, because it's easy to criticize, but if you don't know the whole story, it's easy, you know.
In my opinion, if you are Rooney, you are a friend of Ronaldo, you should talk to him personally, privately, about what you think about his game or whatnot, not in public. And also, here's a valid point. When you criticize, you're focusing on only one side. You have to listen and understand both sides, what's going on. Then you can give a better opinion about it. Also, in this century, having a loyal friends is way more difficult than before.
Right from the start, Ten Hag wanted to show you who the boss was. He dropped you, he benched you, he mucked you around, he talked about you in the press. Were you getting that feeling? I mean, did you feel that?
The feeling, he always mentioned to me that I didn't need the preseason, so I should wait for my opportunity. I really understand. I understand. But I'm not gonna give you points, but he don't do it the same procediment to every players. I'm not going to mention players, but they don't do it the same way. Second, I understand that becoming a new job, Manchester was so bad the last 5 years that they should clean the house, let's say in that way. But the way they approach, the way the press make this so big, it's because probably the communication wasn't the best. But I really understand in the beginning, because I didn't do the preseason, I don't start to play. But going more further than that, other things happen that people they don't know. And I'm not hiding that the empathy with the coach is not good. I'm honest.
You don't have a good relationship with him.
I'm not mean good relationship. The empathy is not good. Let's say.
Do you think he respects you?
I think he don't respect the way I should deserve. But
so here we are talking about one of the best player of this planet, a player who is the highest goal scorer in football history, a player who has more Champions League than whole Manchester United history, a player who is the top scorer in Champions League history. Don't get me wrong, Ten Hag is a good coach, but what is his resume? His best achievement is semi-final with Ajax in Champions League. That's all. He's not proven in Europe yet. Additionally, if you think this player would not suit your football style or so-called gegenpressing football, why don't you let the club know so that they could sell him in the summertime? Or just let him know that you are not part of my plan. You don't suit my football. Simple.
It is what it is. This is why probably the game against Tottenham I left.
Well, I want to come to these two games. So against Manchester City, where United got destroyed, he didn't bring you on. He brought on other strikers, but didn't bring you on. And I felt insulted on your behalf. I was like, well, surely against Manchester City, if you're losing this badly and you've got the greatest player of all time sitting there, you at least give him some time, don't you? But he didn't. And he said afterwards, the reason was he had too much respect for you, wanted to respect you. When you heard him say that, what did you think?
Excuses. I say as excuses. I say many things that I don't wanna criticize him. He can have different opinion than me, that they choose the players that I think is better for the team. I respect that. But the excuses all the time, the excuses have short legs. You cannot excuse all the time, which is things that don't make sense. Okay, you don't put me against Manchester City because of respect of your career, and you want to put me 3 minutes against Tottenham.
Well, that's the thing. So you then play Tottenham.
Don't make sense.
And then he wants to bring you on with 3 minutes to go, which is the complete opposite to what he said the situation was with City.
I think he did purpose, because, for example, in the national team, the other clubs, if the coach wants to put me 5 minutes, if someone injured or if they really need me, I will help. But in that way, I felt provoked, not only because of that game, but before some.
He was deliberately provoking you.
Right.
So Ten Hag said he did not want to disrespect Ronaldo's career by bringing him against Man City. And then he goes on against Tottenham and wants to bring him on when they have only 3 minutes left. This is contradictory. You are just contradicting yourself. It just shows that Ten Hag is a hypocrite.
Everyone know that.
Disrespecting you think?
Exactly. This is why I say I don't have respect for him, because he don't show me respect for me. This is why we are in that situation. I have to be honest that I like guys that they don't lie, they speak honest, they be frontal, and I'm not negotiate my morals. My morals always will be intact. And what's going in my things the last 2 months was not respect in many ways, which is it. I can regret, for example, against Tottenham, to left the stadium before the finish.
Well, there's a video clip which appears to show Ten Hag telling you to get ready to come on, and you gesticulate back to him, I'm not going to do that. And as a result, you get suspended for the next couple of games, and he goes public and says it's because you refused to come on. And you did then issue a statement of some regret, saying, you're a professional, and you've never been suspended before, I don't think, in your entire career. I mean, when you look back at that, I guess my question would be, You've always been very acutely aware of your role model status around the world. Do you wish, with hindsight, you hadn't done that and handled it in a different
Probably.
way?
I regret to left the stadium.
Yeah.
But I was, as I told the Pierce before, I didn't felt that he had respect for me to put me on 3 minutes after the issues that we had before. I was very, 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 very disappointing for the communicator of Manchester United, to be honest. I never had a problem with any club, with any coach, and they suspend me 3 days, which is I felt a lot, and it was, and level of sport clubs, I felt a lot, and it was a shame.
Was it humiliating for you?
I think so, yes. I have to say the truth, what I felt.
So if you connect the dots, it's visible to me that there was issues going on between him and Ten Hag. Listen, Ronaldo is a player who played under a lot of top managers who won titles and titles, like Ancelotti, Zidane, Allegri, a lot of top coach, Mourinho. He had never issue with them in terms of professionalism. No one talked about that he lacks professionalism.
Because they wanted you to leave?
Probably yes.
They're trying to force you out, you think?
Yes. Not only the coach, but the other 2 or 3 guys there around the club.
At the senior executive level?
Yes, that I felt betrayed.
And you think they're trying to get rid of you?
Honestly, I shouldn't say that, I don't know, but listen, I don't care, I'm always, people should listen the truth. Yes, I feel betrayed, and I felt that some people that don't want me here, not only this year, but last year too. The owners of the club, they don't.
The Glazers?
The Glazers, they don't care about the club. I mean, professional sport. They don't really care, in my opinion.
Do you ever talk to them, the Glazers?
Never.
Never?
Never.
Not since you've gone back?
No.
In a nutshell, it seems that the relationship between him and Ten Hag is not the only problems they have in the dressing room. Manchester United have some people at administrative level that has issue with Ronaldo. Some of them don't want him to stay in the club. So that's a problematic. When you don't have unity in the dressing room and as well as in the administration, that doesn't show that this club wants to achieve something. If you want to achieve something in Europe, you have to have unity. So overall, this interview is not nowhere nearly as controversial as it was made out in the media, especially English media. They were releasing videos every single day, multiple times. They also made out in a way so that he's the bad person. He's the evil in the dressing room, not otherwise. And if you watch the full interview, you can see that. You cannot disagree many points he made out in this interview. And those folks from English media didn't even invest some time to watch the whole interview and then give their opinion. Because if they talk something negative about him, they'll get more views, they'll get some clickbaits. That's all they want. They don't want the truth. They want just controversy for the views. And they keep making fake stories out of nothing. Have you seen the Bruno Fernandes video with Ronaldo? When he went back to Portugal dressing room, they were making some joke and they made out that no, Bruno Fernandes is having issue with Ronaldo, which is not the case at all whatsoever, which Bruno Fernandes later explained what happened.
Bruno, can I ask you about your relationship with Cristiano, and are you annoyed by any things he said in his interview?
I didn't read the interview, so I'm okay with that. As I said before, now his national team is Portugal.
It suggested that you gave him a bit of a cold shoulder in the dressing room on Monday.
Why you say that?
Because they put out footage, the FA, and it looked like, because there was no sound, that you were a bit cross with him.
They put the sound after. Did you hear with the sound? Okay. You have to do it because
what happened?
You know what's happened is, like, in Portugal we have a problem that I was watching one of the channels that was talking about that, was cold, was bad for 45 minutes. All of a sudden they go in a break, national team send with the sound. The sound says that he's joking with me, and so they come back. They said there was a joke. And they cut there. And they said, if you want to see again, just go back. But if they go back, they will see that was a problem. But if they tell the really true, if they explain what was in that video, people will know. But now people doesn't know. So as I said, this is national team. Manchester United will be my focus after the World Cup, after the 18th of December, because there is the final. And
You have no problem with him?
I have no problem with anyone. I do my job, and is everything. One time, one manager said to me, "Everything that you can control is yourself." So
the media is faking stories, manipulating stories to get views, to get clicks. Let me know, what do you think about this whole interview? Do you agree and disagree about him? Or if you disagree and agree, let me know whatever you want to say in the comment section below.